All right, on today's video, we got a set of Volkswagen, air-cooled Volkswagen cylinders and pistons that need some correction. The customer bought new cylinders and new pistons, and there was I guess there was a clearance discrepancy. So he took them to another shop and had them honed, and then that's where I come in. So stay tuned and we're gonna get into it. All right, so originally they were honed at another facility, and so the customer had bought new forged Wiseco pistons. They didn't have a coated skirt, which is not a problem, but they carried it because they were a little, I guess, cylinder was a little tight, so they carried them somewhere and had them honed to fit the cylinder. So the number one problem that we found is they didn't torque plate them. And on these cylinders, because they're so thin, torque plate really makes a big difference. So these things draw up about 1/1000ths with a plate on. So it's a big deal. And they go out of round. So after some measuring and ciphering, we decided that the only way we was going to be able to salvage the cylinders was we were going to have to coat the skirts on the pistons to have enough room to be able to hone them and correct all the problems. So I just run the profilometer, and I'm going to put some pictures up here. I just run the profilometer, and I'd already done this, but I run it again so it's fresh and we got the data. So and like I say, I'll put all that stuff on the screen, but the biggest problem was the hone profile. So when they were honed, they must have been honed with freaking 180 grit, and that's all they done, because the hone profile is a mess. And again, I'm gonna put the numbers up here on the screen, but we are, so 39 RA, 115 RK, 62 RPK, and 90 RVK. So we should be 8 to 12 RPK, 30 to 40 RK, and 40 to 50 RVK. So we're almost double of all of that. So it's really a big deal, because it's gonna probably eat oil. It's probably gonna eat the rings up, and it's gonna eat oil. It's just so coarse. So we had Calico do a high build. Their standard is like, I think the standard coating is about 5 to 8 tenths, I think, and the high build's like 1/1000 or something. And it's gonna be touchy probably, but I feel pretty sure, looking at it, I got one in the hone, torqued up, and looking at it, as long as they're all consistent, we're gonna have enough material to clean up. And I mean, if we are 1/1000ths big, I mean, it ain't the end of the world, but we was gonna knurl the skirts instead of coating them, but I didn't know if the engine would be able to handle all the extra horsepower it was gonna make, so we opted to go ahead and coat the skirts with Teflon. So all right, let's go over to the hone, and we're gonna get started trying to fix this mess. All right, so I'm gonna just run the gauge through the cylinder. I hope you can see that. So right up at the top, I mean like right at the top, it's about 6/10. About a 1/2 inch down is 1/1000. In the middle, it's about 7/10. Down at the bottom, it's almost 1/1000. And if you get like right at the very, very bottom, it's almost 2/1000. So the bottom of that cylinder is like really thin, and that's always a challenge. But it wasn't anywhere near that bad. I mean, it was straight within a couple of tenths before we put the torque plate on it. But again, if it had been honed with a torque plate in the first place, we wouldn't be having quite as big a nightmare as we got now. All right, so I went ahead and got the rough stones in, and I made a few strokes. I hope you can see that. So right up here at the top, we still like roughly a thousandths. No, I'm sorry. That's a little over half thousandths. That's about a half. And right now, and I done stroked it in the bottom trying to, yeah, we about a half. So I got it pretty straight now. But you got to be careful because that little tail, let me get one. All this motorcycle stuff, if you can see how thin that is, and the heat will just make it swell up. So while it's hot, it'll you think it's right, and then it cools off, and it's small again. So if you ain't careful, because this is the coldest part of the cylinder, obviously, because up here's where the heat is. So if you ain't careful, this will pinch the piston. So we got to make sure that we get this happy, you know, because that's just. But they really shouldn't make stuff that thin anyway. But it just is what it is. But we're gonna overcome it. So it's good everywhere, but just, I mean, that last eighth of an inch, it's about a half a thousandth tight. But everywhere else, we pretty much zero. We overstroking a good bit, so it ain't gonna get no better than we got it. I don't know if you can see it. I mean, pretty much it's dead nuts within a couple of 2 or 3 tenths. And I mean, I don't know that we're gonna get it no better than that. All right, let's put the fine on this thing and see if we can get a reading, a proper reading. All right, so that's way better, but we still got a little ways to go. But yeah, that RK was like 100 and something, and now it's 70. So it's gonna take several more strokes to get there. But I only done like 5, so. That was 10, but I'm only using like 20% pressure, so it's still we still not really taking many material. We're just knocking the peaks down. Yeah. Closer, closer, closer. I don't know, maybe they honed it with something coarser than 180, but it's got so much valley in it that I don't think we're gonna be able to get the valley to the number it needs to be. I don't think it's gonna be possible. I think we can get everything else there, but I don't think we're gonna get the valley there. It's just too deep. But it might not create a problem. Well, we might get there. So we down to 63. Let me see hopefully you can see that. We're down to 63 and 14. So we're getting there. It's already pulled the RV down a little low, but again, I'm concentrating on them 2 numbers more than anything. So once we get this down to 8 or 10, this may be okay. Because like I say, it's coming on down steadily. Yep, so the RP is good. The RV, I mean, it's high. It ain't crazy high, but it's high. The RA's good, the RK's a little low, but again, it ain't the end of the world. But so that's just the best it's gonna be, and there ain't nothing we can do about it. But we gotta do this 3 more times. So it's just gonna take some time to be able to get there. So, and again, I mean, I just don't know why you would ever hone a cylinder that coarse, but you know, whatever, but we got to fix it. And the peaks, again, you know, we talked about this in multiple other videos. The peaks are the real problem. The valley can be a problem. I mean, it ain't ideal to have a 3-foot deep ditch, but the 3-foot deep ditch is way better than a 3-foot tall curb, you know. So I'm not going to bore you with the other three, but just, you know, this is just another one of them FYIs. But I didn't think it would, I really didn't think the torque plate would move it as much as it did. But like I say, it moved it a lot, because it was pretty straight within a couple of tenths before the plate. And after the plate, it varied 1/1000 from the very top to the very bottom. So it really moved it around. So it definitely, you know, again, we talk about some stuff needs plates, some stuff don't need plates. And it's crazy to me that because these were brand new cylinders, and I'll just about guarantee you that they were not honed with plates. Maybe, but I don't think so. And on the flip side, I don't know if you've seen it, but we fixed a ATV cylinder that was a brand new cylinder, and it was a problem like this, but exactly 180. It was so fine that it had no valley. So they put it together and it killed the rings in 3 days because it just couldn't retain any oil. So again, you know, there's just all kind of crazy honing problems. And as we go, you know, we learn things and refine the process and get better and better with our honing, the way we hone, because, you know, before we had a profilometer, we was doing it a way, and it worked, but now that we can actually measure the cylinder profile, you know, it's just, we can make it better and better and better. And now when stuff comes back to be freshened, the cylinders just look so much better because we know what it is. And, you know, I say it about everything. If you can't measure it, you're guessing. So, you know, because people call us all the time like, well, you know, what should we look for when we take stuff to a shop? What kind of questions should we ask? And the biggest thing that for me is, you know, is the shop clean? Do they have equipment in good repair? And can they actually measure the work, right? If you can't measure what you're doing, then who knows if it's right or wrong. So, all right, hopefully that was interesting. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one.